Day 13 of the test. The human sector was silent. People moved slowly, conserving energy. The meal shares now offered only thin soup and a handful of nutrient pellets. Children no longer played in the corridors. They sat quietly, too tired for games. Jisoo had lost weight. She could feel her ribs when she breathed. But she kept working, kept organizing, kept hoping. Hana and Minho received the larger portions at meals. Jisoo did not eat at all some days, so others could have more. She was not alone. Adults throughout the sector were making the same sacrifice. Parents feeding children, the young helping the elderly, the strong supporting the weak. Nobody had abandoned the community since Junho left. Despite the hunger, despite the exhaustion, they stayed together. Salman ran the numbers every morning. One more day of food, she would say. Then somehow she stretched it to another day. And another Taewon's work crews brought in credits, but not enough to feed everyone. The hydroponic gardens had sprouted, but the vegetables would not be ready for another week at least. They were going to run out of time. On the morning of day 13, Do-hyun arrived at the human sector. He was carrying bags of food from the supply depot. "I can't give you much," he told Soman. "My manager is watching inventory carefully, but I brought what I could." It was enough for maybe 50 people to eat a small meal. Among 400, it was almost nothing. "Thank you," Soman said, taking the bags. "Every bit helps." Do-hyun looked around at the thin, tired faces. "I'm sorry. I wish I could do more." "You've already done so much," Jisoo said, appearing beside them. She looked exhausted, but her eyes were still bright with determination. "Your first act of kindness started all of this. You reminded us who we are." "Who you are is amazing," Do-hyun said quietly. "The Vrelians are taking bets on when you'll collapse. They think you'll turn on each other any day now." "We won't," Jisoo said firmly. "I know. That's why you're going to win." That afternoon, alarms sounded throughout the station. An unscheduled ship was requesting emergency docking in the human sector. Station security protocols required all unauthorized vessels to be turned away. But Counselor Vex, watching from his office, made an unusual decision. He approved the docking request. The ship was Vrelian, large, expensive, and loaded with cargo. Torvik emerged from the vessel and walked directly to the common area, where humans were gathering for the evening meal. His 3 eyes swept across the crowd, taking in their weakened state. "I am Torvik of the Vrelian Collective," he announced. "I have been observing your community for 6 months. I have studied your behavior. I have analyzed your choices. And I've reached a conclusion." People watched him warily. The Vrelians were merchants. They did nothing without profit. "The Galactic Council created this test to break you," Torvik continued. "They wanted to prove that human compassion is weakness. That under pressure you would abandon your principles and fight each other for survival." Angry murmurs rippled through the crowd. "But you did not break," Torvik said. His skin rippled with colors that in Vrelian expression meant respect. "You chose to starve together rather than survive separately. You sacrificed for strangers. You maintained your community even when logic said to abandon it." He gestured to his ship. "I have brought food, medicine, and supplies. Enough to feed your entire community for 3 months. I am giving it to you freely, with no expectation of payment or return." The humans stared in shock. A Vrelian giving something for free? It was unheard of. "Why?" Jisoo asked, stepping forward. "Your people don't give charity." "What's the real reason?" Torvik's 3 eyes focused on her. 6 months ago, I watched a young human named Do-hyun give his own resources to help you feed your children. I could not understand why. In my culture, such an action is considered foolish." He paused and something shifted in his expression. "But I kept watching. I kept studying. And slowly I began to understand. Your compassion is not weakness. It is a form of strength my people have never developed." Torvik walked to where Do-hyun stood in the crowd. "You helped someone when you gained nothing from it. That act created ripples. It inspired others to help. And those acts created more ripples. Now I stand here, a Vrelian merchant who was taught since birth that profit is everything, and I am giving away my cargo because—" He stopped, struggling with unfamiliar emotions. "Because you have taught me something. You call it being moved. You call it compassion. My people have no words for this feeling, but I feel it now." Torvik's skin shimmered with unexpected colors. "I watched you choose principle over survival. I watched you maintain your humanity even when it meant suffering. And I realized that if I did nothing, if I let you starve while I could prevent it, I would lose something precious. I would lose this feeling you have given me. Silence filled the common area. Then Soman started to clap. Others joined. Soon the entire community was applauding and some were crying. Torvik's ship was unloaded over the next hour, crate after crate of food, medicine, and supplies. Real fruits and vegetables, protein packs, vitamin supplements, everything the humans needed. Children laughed for the first time in days. Adults embraced each other in relief. The meal share that evening was the largest they had ever held. Everyone ate until they were full. Jisoo found Torvik standing apart from the celebration, observing. "Thank you," she said simply. "Do not thank me. I did this for selfish reasons." "What reasons?" "I wanted to feel what you feel. This warmth when helping others. This satisfaction in giving without receiving." Torvik's colors shifted again. "Is this what being human is like?" "Sometimes," Jisoo said with a smile. "The best times." News of Torvik's action spread across the station within hours. By the next morning it had reached the Galactic Council. The council reconvened in emergency session. "This is unprecedented," the Kraldan representative growled. "Avrelian abandoning profit motive? It violates everything we understand about that species. It violates everything we understand about economics," another counselor added. Vex presented updated data. The human community not only survived the test, they emerged stronger. Their cooperation actually increased under pressure, and now they have successfully influenced Avrelian to adopt their compassionate behavior. "This is a contagion," the Kraldan said. "If it spreads to other species, then what?" Vex interrupted. His crystalline body pulsed with unusual energy. "Then we have populations that help each other instead of requiring enforcement. Communities that cooperate voluntarily. Societies built on trust instead of power. It would destabilize everything. Or," Vex said quietly, "it would improve everything." The council chamber erupted in argument. Some species saw human compassion as a threat. Others saw it as an opportunity. The debate raged for hours. Finally, the Arconian elder who had proposed the test spoke. "We designed this experiment to prove human weakness. Instead, we have discovered human strength. The question now is, what do we do with this knowledge? We could suppress it," the Kraldan suggested. "Isolate the humans. Prevent their influence from spreading. We could exploit it," a merchant species proposed. "Use their compassion to manipulate them." Or, Vex said, "we could learn from it." More silence. Then Torvik, who had been granted temporary council access to testify, spoke up. "I am a merchant. My entire life has been about profit, trade, and advantage. But the humans showed me something my people never discovered." He paused. "They showed me that the greatest profit is not measured in credits. It is measured in the strength of your community, in the bonds between individuals, in the knowledge that you are not alone." He displayed images from the human sector, children learning in Yejin schools, adults working together in Taiwan's support network, families sharing meals in Somin's dining area, Dohyun helping customers at the depot, Jisoo organizing community projects. "These humans have nothing," Torvik said. "They are refugees who lost everything. Yet they have built something more valuable than any empire. They have built a community where everyone matters, where the strong protect the weak, where sacrifice for others is considered noble instead of foolish." He looked around the council chamber. "I propose that instead of fearing this, we embrace it. Let the humans teach us. Let their compassion spread. Because I believe that a galaxy where species help each other is stronger than a galaxy where we compete to destroy each other." The vote was close. 25 in favor, 22 against. The motion passed. Human communities across the galaxy would be supported, not suppressed. Their methods would be studied, not stigmatized. And species that wished to learn from human compassion would be encouraged to do so. Back on Kepler 442, Jisoo received the news via official communication. The human sector would receive full resource allocations again. More than that, they were being offered colony rights on a new world, a chance to build a proper home. She gathered the community to share the announcement. "We won," she said simply. "They tested us and we won." Cheers erupted. People hugged each other, crying and laughing. But Jisoo raised her hand for silence. "We won because we stayed true to who we are, because we chose compassion over survival, because we proved that humanity's strength is not in our weapons or our technology. It is in our hearts." She found Dohyun in the crowd. "Come here." Embarrassed, he made his way to the front. "This man," Jisoo said, putting her hand on his shoulder, started. 3 months passed on orbital station Kepler 442, and the human sector transformed. Jisoo had become more than just an engineer. People came to her with problems and she helped solve them. When a family's heating unit broke and they could not afford repairs, she fixed it during her off hours. When a young mother needed childcare to attend job interviews, Jisoo watched the baby along with her own children. When someone needed advice, encouragement, or just a listening ear, her door was always open. She never asked for payment. She simply said, "Pass it forward." The phrase spread like fire through the community. Pass it forward. Help the next person. Take care of each other. It became the unofficial motto of the human refugees. Someone had turned the meal sharing into an efficient operation. Every family contributed what they could, even if it was just a few grains of rice or a wilted vegetable. The pooled resources fed everyone better than individual families could have managed alone. Children who had been hungry and thin now had round cheeks and bright eyes. Yejin's teaching program had grown into a full school. 20 adult volunteers taught everything from basic reading to advanced mathematics. They had no building, so they used corridors, storage rooms, and empty cargo bays. The station administrator, a crystalline Arconian named Vex, complained about the inefficient use of space, but he could not deny that educated refugees found jobs faster, which reduced the station's welfare costs. Taewon had organized something remarkable. He called it the Community Support Network. It was simple. Anyone who needed help could post a request on the shared digital board. Anyone who could help would respond. No payment required. Just humans helping humans. Need someone to watch your children? The network found volunteers. Need help moving furniture? Strongbacks appeared. Need emotional support after a bad day? Someone would sit with you and listen. The network handled hundreds of requests each week, all through volunteer labor. The alien residents of the station noticed. How could they not? In the Vrelian merchant quarter, Torvik presented his findings to the local council. His data displays showed graphs and statistics that made no sense to traditional economic theory. The humans have the lowest resource allocation on the station, Torvik explained. They receive 20% less in refugee credits than any other species. Yet observe their outcomes. The graphs showed human employment rates, health statistics, and crime data. All of it was better than species with far more resources. Impossible, one council member clicked. The data must be corrupted. The data is accurate. I have verified it personally. Torvik's three eyes focused on different council members. The humans have discovered something we do not understand. They call it community. They call it compassion. They call it taking care of each other. These are inefficient emotional responses, another council member said, not economic strategies. And yet they work. Torvik displayed a new image. It showed Doyun at the supply depot, the original act that started everything. This human gave away his own resources to help a stranger. Logic says this should have weakened him. Instead, it strengthened his entire community. The council was silent. Finally, the eldest member spoke. What do you propose we do with this information? I propose we learn from it. Torvik's skin rippled with the colors of excitement. If compassion is a technology, we must understand how it works. Word of Torvik's research reached the Galactic Refugee Council. They sent observers to the human sector to study this anomaly. The observers were led by Counselor Vex, the same Arconian who administered the station. Vex was a being of pure crystalline thought. His species had evolved beyond physical needs and emotional responses. They considered themselves the most advanced species in the galaxy. Vex did not understand humans at all. He floated through the human sector, his crystalline body glowing with a cold blue light. Beside him floated two assistants, recording everything. Explain your economic system, Vex said to Jisoo. She had been selected as the human spokesperson because people respected her. They sat in the common area, surrounded by children playing and adults working together on various projects. Jisoo thought carefully about how to explain. We don't really have an economic system, she said. We have a community. That is not an answer. How do you distribute resources? Who decides allocation? What enforcement mechanisms ensure compliance? People share what they have. Those who have more give more. Those who need more receive more. There's no enforcement. People just do it. Vex's glow flickered with confusion. Without enforcement, why would anyone contribute? Self-interest should lead to hoarding. Jisoo smiled. Because we're human. We care about each other. Care is an emotion. Emotions are inefficient variables that should be minimized in decision-making. Maybe for you. Jisoo gestured at the room around them. But for us, emotions are what make us strong. We care about each other, so we help each other. We help each other, so we all survive better. Vex processed this. I wish to see an example. Show me this helping in action. Jisoo led him to Yejin's teaching area. 24 children sat in a circle while Yejin explained basic science. Next to her, a former university professor helped struggling students individually. In the corner, an older child tutored a younger one. These teachers, Vex said. What payment do they receive? None, Yejin answered. I teach because these children need to learn. Illogical. You expend time and energy with no compensation. Yejin looked at the children, her eyes warm. My compensation is seeing them understand. Watching them grow. Knowing that maybe one of them will become a scientist or engineer who makes the world better. You cannot purchase food with feelings of satisfaction. No, Yejin agreed, but I can come to the meal share where the community feeds me. I can live in my quarters where someone else repaired my door. I can wear clothes that someone else gave me when they got new ones. The community takes care of me because I take care of the children. It all balances out. But there is no formal system, no contracts, no enforcement. We don't need them. We have something better. We have trust. Vex was silent for a long time. Then he moved to observe Taewon's community support network. The digital board showed dozens of requests. Vex read them aloud. Need help fixing water recycler. Need someone to talk to, feeling lonely. Need advice on job interview. Need childcare tomorrow morning. He turned to Taewon. And people respond to these requests without payment? Every single one, Taewon said proudly. Usually within an hour. Why? Taewon thought about it. Because today I need help with something and someone helps me. Tomorrow someone else needs help and I help them. We're all in the same situation. We all struggle. So we struggle together. This is remarkably inefficient. A formal service economy would process these needs more logically. Maybe, Taewon said. But it wouldn't make us feel like family. That word again. Family. Vex heard it constantly in the human sector. They used it for people they had only met weeks ago. People who shared no genetic material. It made no logical sense. Vex's final stop was the supply depot. He wanted to interview the human who started all of this. Do-hyun was stocking shelves when they arrived. You are the one called Do-hyun, Vex stated. Yes, sir. Do-hyun stood straight, nervous in the presence of a council member. You gave your personal resources to a stranger. This action has been studied across multiple sectors. Explain your reasoning. Do-hyun looked uncomfortable with the attention. I saw a mother who couldn't feed her kids. I had credits. She needed food. It was simple. It was economically irrational. Maybe. But it was the right thing to do. Define right thing. Do-hyun struggled to find words. It's what we do. We're human. We see someone suffering, we help. We don't think about profit or payment. We think about other people's pain and we want to stop it. This is pure emotional response. You prioritized feeling over logic. Yes, Do-hyun said simply. And I'd do it again. Vex processed this. His crystalline mind analyzed thousands of data points. The human sector had lower resources but higher satisfaction. Less enforcement but more cooperation. No formal economy but better distribution. Every logical model said they should fail. Yet they succeeded. I do not understand your species, Vex admitted. Do-hyun smiled. That's okay. Sometimes we don't understand ourselves. We just know that helping each other feels right. And when we all help each other, we all do better. That night, Vex filed his report with the Galactic Council. His conclusion was simple and troubling. Human compassion appears to function as an unrecognized survival technology. Further study required. In the human sector, Jisoo tucked her children into bed. Hana was healthy now, attending school and making friends. Minyo had grown taller, no longer swimming in his oversized jacket. Mama, Hana said sleepily. Teacher Yejin said we should be grateful for our community. What does that mean? Jisoo stroked her daughter's hair. It means we're lucky. We have people who care about us. And we care about them back, like Do-hyun, Minyo asked. The nice man from the store? Yes, exactly like Do-hyun. He helped us when we needed it. Now we help others. That's what makes us human. I like being human, Hana murmured, already half asleep. Jisoo smiled. So do I, sweet one. So do I. In the Vrelian quarter, Torvik reviewed his research one more time. He had spent months observing the humans. He had analyzed their behavior, their economics, their social structures, and slowly, impossibly, he was beginning. The Galactic Council met in a chamber that orbited a distant star. Representatives from 47 species gathered to discuss the human question. Councillor Vex presented his findings. Images of the human sector floated in the chamber's center, showing meal shares, teaching sessions, and the community support network in action. The humans have created a stable society with minimal resources, Vex explained. Their crime rate is the lowest on Kepler 442. Their employment rate is the highest. Their community satisfaction scores exceed every other refugee population. And you believe this is because of emotion? Asked a Kreldan representative. The Kreldans were a warrior species that valued strength above all else. Emotion is weakness. I believed that as well, Vex admitted. But the data contradicts this assumption. Human emotion appears to function as organizational technology. It creates bonds that enforce cooperation without requiring external authority. A Vrelian counselor, Torvik's superior, spoke up. Our merchant Torvik has also been studying this phenomenon. His conclusion is that humans have discovered a form of resource distribution we have not recognized. He calls it compassion economics. Murmurs filled the chamber. Several species had never even heard the word compassion before. This is dangerous, said the Kraldan. If emotion can replace enforcement, it undermines the foundation of galactic civilization. Our societies are built on power structures and contracts. If the humans show that neither is necessary, the implication hung in the air. Every species in the council controlled their populations through some form of enforcement. Military power, economic pressure, genetic programming, social hierarchy. But the humans needed none of that. They cooperated voluntarily. If other species learned this was possible, the entire galactic order could collapse. We need to understand the limits of this human compassion, said an Arconian elder. Is it truly sustainable? Or will it collapse under sufficient pressure? I propose a test, the Kraldan said. We remove their resources entirely. We observe whether their cooperation survives scarcity. If it does, we must accept that human compassion is genuine strength. If it fails, we can dismiss it as temporary emotional delusion. Vex hesitated. Such a test would cause suffering, potentially deaths. They are already suffering. We would simply increase the pressure to determine their breaking point. The council voted. 32 species in favor, 15 against. The test was approved. Vex returned to Kepler 442 with orders he did not want to carry out. But he was a servant of the Galactic Council. He had no choice. The announcement came during a morning cycle. Attention all human refugees. Vex's voice echoed through the sector. Due to budgetary constraints, the Galactic Refugee Council has suspended all resource allocations to human populations, effective immediately. This includes housing credits, food allowances, and medical supplies. Alternative arrangements must be made through personal employment or community resources. Silence fell across the human sector. Then voices rose in confusion and fear. Jisoo was at work when she heard the news. Her supervisor, Yoonji, looked sick. This is insane, Yoonji said. They're cutting everything? People will starve. How long? Jisoo asked quietly. The announcement didn't say. Maybe it's permanent. Jisoo thought of Hana and Minho. She earned enough credits to feed her family, barely. But there were hundreds of humans who had no jobs yet. Children, elderly, disabled. They depended on those refugee credits to survive. She left work early and rushed to the common area. It was packed with frightened people. Soman stood on a bench trying to restore calm. Everyone, please. We need to think clearly. What's there to think about? Someone shouted. They're starving us out. My children need food. A woman cried. My mother needs medicine. Soman raised her hands. I know. But panic won't help. We need to assess what we have and plan how to survive. Jisoo pushed through the crowd. Soman's right. We need to organize. Taewon appeared beside her. I've been running numbers. We have about 2 weeks of food if we pool everything. Maybe 3 if we ration carefully. And after that? Someone asked. After that, we figure something out, Jisoo said firmly. We've survived this long by taking care of each other. We don't stop now. An emergency meeting was called. Every adult in the human sector who could attend crowded into the largest cargo bay. Nearly 400 people. Jisoo stood at the front with Soman, Taiwan, and Yejin. They had spent 2 hours making a plan. Here's the situation, Jisoo said. We have no more refugee credits, but we have our community, and we have each other. She outlined their strategy. Every family would contribute all their food to a central supply. Soman would manage distribution based on need, not equality. Children and elderly first. Working adults would take less so others could survive. We'll expand the meal share to cover everyone, Soman added. 3 meals a day, rationed carefully. If we're smart, we can last 2 weeks. What happens after 2 weeks? An elderly man asked. We work, Taewon said. Those of us with jobs will take extra shifts. We'll earn credits and buy food. Those without jobs will provide services to other sectors. We'll trade labor for resources. We'll also start growing food, Yejin suggested. We can build hydroponic gardens from salvaged materials. It won't produce much at first, but every bit helps. What about medicine? A mother asked. My son has a chronic illness. He needs medication weekly. Jisoo had thought about this. I'll talk to Do-Yun at the supply depot. Maybe he can help us get essential medicines at reduced cost, and we'll ask the human doctors to volunteer their time. This is a lot of work for people who are already exhausted, someone said. I know, Jisoo admitted, but what choice do we have? We can either give up or we can fight, and I don't know about you, but I didn't survive the destruction of my homeworld just to starve on a space station. There was silence. Then one person started clapping, then another. Soon the entire bay echoed with applause. Pass it forward, someone shouted. Pass it forward, others echoed. The meeting ended with grim determination. The humans had faced disaster before. They would face this too, but not everyone was convinced. A small group gathered in a side corridor after the meeting. About 20 people led by a man named Junho. He had been a banker before becoming a refugee, and he believed in individual survival above community welfare. This is stupid, Junho said to his group. Why should I give my food to strangers? I earned my credits. My family should eat first. But the community needs, someone started. The community is not my responsibility, Junho interrupted. I'm taking my family to the Vrelian quarter. I can trade my labor directly for food, better pay, better conditions. But if we all do that, the community falls apart, a woman protested. Then let it fall apart. I'm not starving for strangers. Half the group agreed with Junho. They packed their belongings and moved to other sectors, seeking individual survival. Jisoo heard about it and felt her heart sink. The community was fracturing, but she could not force anyone to stay. She could only hope that enough people remained committed to make it work. The first week was brutal. Soman stretched the food supply with incredible efficiency. Meals were small but nutritious. Nobody went hungry, but nobody felt full either. Children asked for seconds and were told there were none. The hydroponic gardens were built in an abandoned storage bay. Yejin led the effort, teaching people how to grow vegetables in nutrient water. The first plants would take weeks to mature, but it was a start. Taewon organized work crews. Groups of humans offered their labor to other sectors, accepting payment in food, medicine, or credits. They repaired equipment, cleaned facilities, and did any job that paid. Jisoo worked double shifts at the engineering department. Her supervisor Eunji tried to pay her extra, but Jisoo refused. Give the extra credits to the community fund, she said. Other people need it more. Do-Yun at the supply depot did what he could. He sold essential medicines to the humans at cost, taking no profit. He set aside expired food that was still safe to eat and gave it to Soman for the meal shares. He used his employee discount to help wherever possible, but it was not enough. By the 10th day, people were getting desperate. Children cried from hunger. Adults grew weak from malnutrition. The elderly looked frail and sick. Junho sent a message from the Vrelian quarter. Come join us. Individual survival is the only way. The community experiment has failed. Some people were tempted. Jisoo saw it in their eyes. That night, she called another meeting. Fewer people came this time, maybe 300. Some were too weak to walk. I know you're tired, Jisoo said. I know you're scared, I am too. My children ask me when they can have a full meal, and I don't have an answer. People looked at the ground. Their faces showed defeat. But I want to tell you something, Jisoo continued. Back on New Pyongyang before the solar flare, I had everything. A good job, a nice home, plenty of food. And you know what? I was happy. But I wasn't this proud. She gestured at the group. Look at what we've built. We're starving and we're still sharing. We're exhausted and we're still helping each other. We're being tested and we're not breaking. Maybe we should break, someone muttered. Maybe Junho was right. Maybe, Jisoo agreed. Or maybe this is what makes us human. Not that we're so... The lights on orbital station Kepler 442 never dimmed. They hummed constantly, a pale blue glow that reminded Jisoo of everything she had lost. 3 months ago, she had a home on New Pyongyang. She had a husband, a career as a terraforming engineer, and 2 children who laughed every day. Now she had only the children, and even keeping them fed felt impossible. Jisoo held Minho's hand as they walked through the crowded market section. Her son was 8 years old but looked smaller. His jacket hung loose on his thin shoulders. On her other side, 6-year-old Hana coughed again. That cough had been getting worse for 2 weeks now. The station was massive, a spinning wheel in space that housed over 50,000 refugees from a dozen different worlds. Most were not human. The tall, gray-skinned Vrelians dominated the market spaces with their merchant stalls. They spoke in clicking sounds and watched everything with their 3 eyes, always calculating profit. There were also the floating Arconians, crystalline beings that glowed faintly and never seemed to need food or rest. Sometimes Jisoo envied them. "Mama, I'm hungry," Hana whispered. "I know, sweet one. We're getting food now." Jisoo squeezed her daughter's small hand. She had been saving her refugee credits for 2 weeks. The Galactic Refugee Council gave each human family barely enough to survive. She had done the math carefully. Today she could afford protein packs and vitamin supplements. The vitamins might help Hana's cough. The Central Supply Depot was the largest store on the station. It sold everything from food to clothing to repair tools. Jisoo pushed through the entrance and the automated system scanned her identity chip. A screen flickered to life, showing her credit balance. Her stomach tightened. It was less than she remembered. She moved quickly through the aisles, picking items with practiced efficiency. 2 protein packs, the cheap kind made from algae. 1 bottle of children's vitamins. A small container of dried fruit because Minho loved sweet things, and she wanted to see him smile. She added a carton of NutriPaste for herself. It tasted like cardboard, but it would keep her working. Minho pressed his face against a display case showing real fruits from Earth. Apples, oranges, strawberries. They cost more credits than Jisoo earned in a month. "Someday," she told him softly. "When Mama gets a job, we'll have real food again." Hana coughed again, harder this time. An elderly Vrelian merchant turned to stare at them with all 3 eyes. Jisoo felt her cheeks burn. She knew what the aliens thought of humans. Weak, emotional, inefficient. The Vrelians had suffered no disasters. They came to the station as traders, not refugees. At the checkout counter stood a young man in the depot's blue uniform. Jisoo had seen him before during her weekly shopping trips. He always worked the night shift when fewer people came through. His name tag said Do-hyun. Do-hyun had a kind face. He always smiled at the children and never rushed her when she carefully counted her credits before purchasing anything. Tonight he looked tired. His dark hair was messy and there were shadows under his eyes. Probably another human working too many hours to survive. Jisoo placed her items on the counter. Do-hyun scanned them one by one. The display showed the total. Jisoo reached for her credit chip. "Identity confirmed," the computer said in a flat voice. "Jisoo Park. Refugee status active. Current balance insufficient." The word hung in the air like a slap. Insufficient. What? Jisoo stared at the screen. "That's wrong. I had enough." I counted. Do-hyun's fingers moved over his terminal. His expression grew sad. There was an announcement this morning. The Galactic Refugee Council reduced the monthly credits again. By 20%, 20%. Jisoo felt the world tilt. She had been living on the edge already. 20% meant impossible choices. I see. Her voice came out small. Behind her, she heard the clicking sounds of Vrelian speech. They were watching. Always watching. Jisoo looked down at her children. Minho stared at the food on the counter with wide eyes. Hana coughed into her sleeve. "I'll have to put some things back," Jisoo said. Her hands shook as she reached for the items. "Which ones, ma'am?" Do-hyun asked quietly. Jisoo picked up the NutriPaste she had chosen for herself. "This one, then the dried fruit, and this." She looked at the protein packs and vitamins, doing desperate math in her head. The vitamins cost more, but Hana needed them. But the protein packs were food. Real sustenance. Tears burned in her eyes. She blinked them back. She would not cry in front of the aliens. She would not give them the satisfaction. The vitamins too, she whispered, putting the bottle back. Mama? Minho's voice was confused. It's okay, baby. But it was not okay. Nothing was okay. She picked up one of the protein packs. Maybe if they split one pack between the three of them for a few days, made it last longer? Wait, Jisoo looked up. Do-hyun was watching her with an expression she could not read. He glanced at Hana, then at Minho in his too large jacket. Something shifted in his eyes. Please wait just a moment, ma'am. Do-hyun's hands moved over his terminal again. He pulled out his personal credit chip from his pocket. What are you doing? Jisoo asked. Do-hyun did not answer. He scanned his chip. The computer beeped. Transaction approved. Total cost 65 credits. Jisoo's mouth fell open. No, I can't let you. It's done, Do-hyun said simply. He began bagging her items. Then, while she stood frozen in shock, he added more items. A container of real vegetables, a small loaf of actual bread, a tube of medicine for coughs. Stop, please stop, Jisoo said. I can't accept this. I can't pay you back. Do-hyun looked at her directly. His eyes were warm and sad and determined all at once. It's not charity, he said. It's what we do. We take care of each other. Behind them, the Vrelian merchants had gone silent. Their clicking speech had stopped. They were all watching now, their three eyes fixed on this strange transaction. Jisoo felt tears spill down her cheeks. She could not stop them anymore. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you so much. Do-hyun handed her the bags. Take care of them, he said, nodding at the children. And yourself. Minho hugged his mother's leg. Hana smiled for the first time in days. Jisoo took the bags with shaking hands and walked away, her children close beside her. She did not see Do-hyun watch them go with a small, tired smile. She did not see the Vrelian merchant named Torvik activate his neural recording implant, capturing every moment of what had just happened. She did not know that this simple act, one human helping another, would be analyzed and discussed and argued over by beings across the galaxy. All she knew was that tonight, her children would eat. Tomorrow she would find a way to thank this young man. Somehow. As they left the depot, Hana looked up at her mother. That man was nice, Mama. Yes, Jisoo said softly. Yes, he was. Remember that, both of you. Remember that kindness exists even here. The station's lights hummed overhead, constant and cold. But in Jisoo's heart, something warm had flickered to life. Hope. Small and fragile, but real. In the depot, Do-hyun returned to his work. His own credit balance was now dangerously low. He would eat less this week. It did not matter. He had seen the look in those children's eyes. He had seen the mother's desperate calculations. He was only one person. He could not save everyone. But tonight he had saved someone. That was enough. The Vrelian merchant Torvik replayed the recording in his mind. The data made no sense. Do-hyun had gained nothing. He had lost valuable resources. There was no contract, no promise of repayment, no logical benefit. Yet the human had smiled afterward. Torvik did not understand. But he would study this. He would watch the humans more carefully. Perhaps there was something the Galactic Council had missed about this strange species. Perhaps there was something worth learning. News traveled fast in the human refugee sector. By the next morning, everyone knew what Do-hyun had done. Jisoo had not meant to tell anyone. She had returned to her small quarters, fed her children, and given Hana the cough medicine. For the first time in weeks, her daughter slept through the night without waking. That alone felt like a miracle. But Minho had mentioned it to another child in the hallway. That child told their parents. Those parents told others. By breakfast time, the story had spread through all 6 levels of the human residential area. An old woman named Soman stopped Jisoo in the corridor. Soman had been a school administrator back on New Pyongyang. Now she organized the informal meal sharing that happened each morning in the common area. Is it true? Soman asked. About the boy at the supply depot? Jisoo nodded, feeling embarrassed. She did not like being the center of attention. His name is Do-hyun. He used his own credits. Soman's eyes grew bright with tears. A good boy. A very good boy. She patted Jisoo's arm. Come, eat with us this morning. I saved some extra rice. I couldn't. Yes, you could. And you will. Somin's voice was firm but warm. We take care of each other, just like that boy showed us. The common area was crowded with people. There were maybe 40 humans there, sitting on benches and floor cushions sharing food from a communal pot. It was not much. Rice cooked with synthetic protein, but it was warm and people were smiling. A man named Taewon stood when he saw Jisoo. He had been a soldier before the solar flare destroyed everything. Now he coordinated the security volunteers who kept watch over the human sectors. Jisoo, he said loudly, come sit. We heard about what happened. Everyone turned to look at her. Jisoo felt her face grow hot. It was nothing special. He was just being kind. It was special, a young woman said. Her name was Yejin, and she taught the refugee children basic math and reading in a cramped storage room. It reminds us who we are. What we are, human, Somin said softly. That's what we are. And humans help each other. After breakfast, Jisoo walked to the engineering office where she had been applying for work. She had submitted her credentials 5 times already. Each time they told her there were no positions. But today she felt different. The medicine had helped Hana. The bread had made Minho laugh. Maybe luck was turning. The hiring manager was a tired-looking woman named Yoonji. She barely looked up when Jisoo entered. I'm here about the terraforming position, Jisoo said. Still no openings. Yoonji's voice was flat. Please. Jisoo stepped closer to the desk. Just look at my file again. I have 8 years of experience. I can optimize atmospheric processors. I said no openings. Yoonji finally looked up. Her eyes were hard. Then they softened slightly. Wait, you're Park Jisoo? From New Pyongyang? Yes. Yoonji stared at her for a long moment. You're the one from the supply depot. Last night, how did she know? But Jisoo just nodded. Something changed in Yoonji's expression. She pulled up Jisoo's file on her screen and actually read it this time. Her eyebrows rose. These credentials are excellent, Yoonji said slowly. I don't know why I didn't see it before. She paused. Actually, I do know. I have looked at 300 applications this month. They all blur together. But you're the woman with the sick daughter. The one that boy helped. That shouldn't matter for a job. Maybe it shouldn't, but it does. Yoonji made some notes on her screen. There is an opening. It is 3rd shift and the pay is terrible. But it is something. Jisoo's heart jumped. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me. Thank that boy at the depot. He reminded me that we're supposed to help each other. Yoonji smiled for the first time. Start tomorrow night. Jisoo left the office in a daze. A job, she had a job. She could pay for food now. She could get Hana real medicine. She could pay Do-hyun back. That evening, Jisoo returned to the supply depot. She had to wait in line behind several Vrelian merchants. They were arguing with the current cashier about prices, their clicking speech sharp and aggressive. Finally they left and Jisoo approached the counter. Do-hyun was there again. He looked surprised to see her. Ma'am, is everything okay? Did the children need something else? No, everything is perfect. The medicine worked. Hana slept all night. Jisoo placed her hands on the counter. I got a job today, engineering. I start tomorrow. Do-hyun's face lit up with genuine happiness. That's wonderful. Congratulations. I came to tell you that I will pay you back. Every credit. It might take a few weeks, but I will. No. Do-hyun shook his head firmly. What? I don't want payment. He leaned forward slightly. Listen, I know how this sounds, but I didn't help you to get paid back. I helped you because it was right. Because those kids needed food. Because you needed hope. But you spent your own credits. You must need them. I do. Do-hyun smiled softly. But I need to live with myself more. And I can do that knowing I helped someone when they needed it. Jisoo felt tears again. Then let me do something, please. I feel like I owe you. Do-hyun thought for a moment. Okay, here's what you do. When you see someone else who needs help, you help them. You don't pay me back. You pass it forward. Help the next person. And maybe they'll help someone after that. That's how we survive this place. Not by keeping score, but by taking care of each other. Behind Jisoo, someone cleared their throat. She turned to see Torvik, the Vrelian merchant. His 3 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion in his species. Excuse me, Torvik said in heavily accented human speech. I am hearing your conversation. I am trying to understand. Do-hyun looked wary. The Vrelians were known for being cold and calculating. Understand what? You gave resources. You receive nothing. Now she offers payment. You refuse. Torvik's center eye focused on Dohyun. This makes no logical sense. What is your profit? There is no profit, Dohyun said simply. Then why? Dohyun glanced at Jisoo, then back at Torvik. Because we're human. We take care of our own. Torvik's skin rippled with color, another sign of confusion. But you gained nothing. You lost resources. This is inefficient. Maybe. Dohyun shrugged. But it's who we are. Torvik stood silent for a long moment. Then he turned and walked away without another word. Jisoo watched him go. That was strange, she said. The Vrelians think we're crazy, Dohyun said. Most of the aliens do. They don't understand kindness without contracts. Then they don't understand the best part of being human. Dohyun smiled. Exactly. Over the next week, something shifted in the human sector. It started small. Salman began organizing larger meal shares, and more people contributed what little they had. Yejin's teaching sessions grew bigger, as other educated refugees volunteered to help. Taewon set up a tool-sharing system so people could repair their quarters without buying expensive equipment. Jisoo started her engineering job. The work was hard and the hours were long, but she was good at it. On her first paycheck, she bought real meat for the meal share. 50 people ate well that night because of her contribution. She saw Minho teaching a younger child how to read. She saw Hana, her cough finally gone, helping sort donated clothes. She saw humans who had been strangers working together like family. And everywhere, people mentioned Dohyun's name, the boy who helped when he didn't have to, the one who reminded them what it meant to be human. Torvik watched all of this from his merchant stall. He had recording devices hidden throughout the human sector, capturing data. He was a merchant, yes, but he was also a scholar, and this human behavior fascinated him. They shared food when they barely had enough. They taught children for free. They fixed each other's problems without demanding payment. By all Vrelian logic, they should have collapsed into chaos. Competition should have destroyed them. Instead, they were thriving. Torvik accessed the station's statistics. The human sector had the lowest crime rate, the highest employment rate, the best health outcomes despite having the least resources. It made no sense. Unless compassion itself was a resource. Unless kindness was a form of currency that accumulated value in ways his people had never measured. Torvik made a note in his research file. Title: The Human Paradox, Strength Through Sacrifice. He would need to study this more carefully. In his small quarters, Dohyun ate a simple meal of protein paste and water. His credit balance was still low. But when he closed his eyes at night, he saw Hana's smile. He heard Minho's laugh. He remembered the hope in Jisoo's eyes. Some things were worth more than credits, and the whole galaxy was about to learn that lesson.